Welcome to SF Commercial Property Conversations with Bruce Bean, where Bay Area investments meet expert insights. Get ready to unlock the strategies of commercial real estate success.
So today we have Michael Chidambaram from Kidder Matthews talking to us about San Francisco real estate. So it's great to have you on, Michael. I'm very interested in your history of coming to real estate. So if you wouldn't mind just giving us an overview of that, that would be great.
Right. Yeah. Bruce, it's great to be on the podcast. I'll clarify a couple things. I'm actually with Vandermeid currently. And it was formerly Whitney Cressman, which turned into Kidder Matthews. That was my prior firm.
Well, so tell me about that little transition.
Well, I was with Whitney Cressman for some amount of time, and then I was recruited by Vandermeid and partnered up with as a principal there. I found it suited my tenant rep business and kind of more entrepreneurial style of working, with all sorts of different types of transactions of different sizes. And it also gave me the ability to partner with folks at different firms very easily. It's a flexible shop.
So Ramsey's still with Kidder Matthews, or did he move over to?
Correct. He's with Kidder.
Oh yeah. Okay. So he just kind of knew you from Kidder and referred you over.
He was at Collier's in Oakland, and we were friends socially and ended up doing a lot of work together because he was doing what I did in San Francisco. He was doing it in Oakland. Mainly a lot of street retail and food and beverage deals.
So you grew up in San Francisco?
No, I grew up in Los Gatos, and I've been in San Francisco since probably about 99, 2000.
And you went to Santa Clara University?
That's right.
The famous Santa Clara University. It's well, I have several people. I'm from Boulder, Colorado, and so anyways, several of our good friends graduated from Santa Clara. So anyway, a great school, great place to learn education.
It is a great university. I'm happy to have had that experience.
And so you came through there. You actually worked in TV in India for a little while.
Yeah, that's right. My degree was in communication and mass media, and I ended up working in television production overseas. At the time, it was Bombay, India. Now it's Mumbai, producing shows for Star Television Network, which got beamed out to 62 countries.
Wow!
So. It was a wild experience coming straight out of college and working in a place like that.
Oh yeah. No, have you ever been down to Goa?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Goa.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, we'll have to share stories about Goa. I've got a story about being in Goa coming from Bangalore, but we can do that another day. But so then how did you get back to the States and get into real estate?
So when I got back to the Bay Area circa 2000 and let's see. No, that would have been about 1996 or so. The internet boom was in full effect. And I ended up in I'd say before that I was working with my brother in commercial real estate. When I got back, I joined him. He was at a firm, DJM Capital Partners, doing investment sales, and having come back, needing a job, I started assisting him with some of the projects that he was working on. Ended up getting my license, and then before I could really dig in and work with him further, he took off and ended up going on a surf trip in Australia and never came home. So, yeah.
I hope he's still alive, that he didn't perish in the surf.
He is. He's doing mortgages in Sydney.
Oh, wow.
And then I ended up working with Ann Wilbur at Wilbur Properties
Mm-hmm.
for a year or two, and then got recruited up to Whitney Cressman in San Francisco. And I was looking forward to getting back up to San Francisco then. So I joined them, and Whitney Cressman subsequently became Kidder Matthews. Although that was after I left to partner with Vandermeet Commercial, where I've
Oh,
been since then.
cool. So tell us a little bit about the crazy San Francisco market of late.
Yeah, well, being in retail and doing a lot of food and beverage deals, there's it's a really tough market in terms of being, restaurants. It was tough before COVID. It's tougher after COVID, in turn, due to costs of uh, costs of food, costs of labor,
Mm.
and all the other taxes and whatnot that San Francisco puts on things, and just the lack of people. There's just a lot less people in the city. I read that 200,000 people a day came into San Francisco on work days.
Wow.
And that's just such an anemic amount now that, I was downtown last week on a Wednesday, and it just felt like a Sunday afternoon,
Wow.
and so any businesses in San Francisco that used to rely on daytime foot traffic from office workers, commuters, business travelers, and even tourists, because tourism's down too. Those businesses have been turned upside down. A lot of them have closed, and there's just an oversupply of a lot of the other businesses, fighting for what little uh, foot traffic there is, and, an
So
audience.
are you seeing any kind of resurgence? I know uh, throughout the US, retail is increasing or surging forward, but it sounds like San Francisco, I know down here in the peninsula, retail is actually kind of hot, but um, it sounds like San Francisco is still suffering up there, that retail is not really perking up much.
Yeah, the number that I had, this is an interesting statistic I had heard, which is that the office workers accounted for 50% of the foot traffic at Union Square.
Wow.
And so if you get rid of all the office foot traffic, that's a lot, or workers, that's a lot less foot traffic, visiting the Union Square shops. And you add to that just a decrease in regional visits and overseas tourism. And, there's just a lot less visitors, a lot less spending.
Well, I know our son used to work for Salesforce, and their whole reasoning for not having the fancy dining room and all that stuff that most of the high-end, high-tech companies have was that they wanted their workers to go out into the community and support the community and all the restaurants around Salesforce Tower. But even that, I mean, is like you say, if it's down to 50%, and I think Salesforce occupancy is down to 50%, so that just all adds up to a much less people going for lunch even in the downtown area.
Yeah, that's right. There's been a lot of closures. Lunch places were affected the hardest. There's still dinner places. There's still dinner places that are doing well, and new places opening, including Client's Place Modi in the Transbay Terminal opened recently. A Mexican Italian fusion restaurant, which is outstanding. And they did a great job. It's a beautiful space. And it's, the Transbay Terminal, they keep things real clean, and there's police presence there all the time. So it's a nice place to dine, and they seem to be doing pretty well. Nothing's going to make up for the lack of daytime office workers, though. I mean, in terms of bringing things back to the level that they were pre-pandemic. So I think ultimately there's just going to be a lot less, small businesses serving
Yeah,
the downtown area
yeah.
because the the businesses just isn't there to sustain them all. And
Yeah,
it's going to take a long time, I think, to get back to
yeah,
that level.
yeah. No, that's kind of a very sad situation to be in. So, tough uh, doings for those that have been in business and done well, and now all of a sudden they're, kind of struggling to do anything. So, it's a tough situation. How about the office side? Is the office side coming back at all these days?
Yeah, it's definitely upticked. I mean, I think we're banging along the bottom in terms of occupancy and rents and things like that. So there's sort of indications that things are starting to come back a little bit. Some leases been signed. AI companies are going after space. Um, but it's still yet to be seen what kind of a recovery it'll be. It's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah. What's
early
your
still.
what's your crystal ball say? It's going to be another 3 to 5 years before things sort of sort out.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, and I don't know how long is it before or ever that we're going to have all of those offices filled with bodies 5 days a week. I mean, is that ever going to happen again? I don't know because when you used to walk on the sidewalks in downtown San Francisco during the workday, at lunch or early afternoon or whatever, and they have uh, crosswalks that go diagonally because so many people are crossing every which way.
Oh, right, right.
So it's like I don't think they need those anymore. So it is quiet now. The one of the positives is that there's a lot more vibrancy in the neighborhoods because people who otherwise would be commuting downtown to the financial district are working from home, and they may be dining in the neighborhoods and staying closer to home. And so the you know affluent neighborhoods are doing pretty well. You know,
Yeah, no, I think that's
the,
true in the peninsula. The San Mateo downtown seems to be thriving quite well. I mean, there are certain businesses that are going out, but I think overall the uptick is working down here. But yeah, the city is still kind of struggling in terms of the whole situation. So
yeah, but there's also good opportunity too. I mean, where there's been so much vacancy and turnover and businesses going under, specific to food and beverage operators, there are fantastic, very uh, very expensive restaurant build outs that can be available from landlords. Uh, in some cases with liquor licenses attached
oh
for
wow.
no more than pay a security deposit, sign the lease. Whereas in the past, you'd be spending anywhere from $300,000-400,000 to $1 million to buy into the assets of one of these places if you wanted to take over
Oh yeah.
a restaurant I mean, liquor licenses would set you back $250,000.
Oh yeah. No, you couldn't even get one. Yeah, it
So, and
was.
it was very difficult, right? So now, you know, for restaurant operators who have a great concept and a great team and are just looking for a space, there's just a lot of great spaces that can be considered. And operators will get in there without having to spend millions of bucks on a build out. They can do some cosmetic changes and open the doors pretty fast.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, unlike
and the rents will be lower as well. So that's a plus for independent food and beverage operators who can go into these spaces.
So are you doing any investment sales? How is I mean, there's been some crazy sales going on. I mean, pennies on the dollar. Have you been working on any of that?
I have not. No, I'm representing several owner users looking for various properties, and there, it's still tough for owner users finding things within their budget. I would say, given that interest rates are higher than they used to be, it
Right.
suppresses their buying power.
Even with an
Um,
SBA loan, of course, SBA loans are not cheap. So, yeah, it's still not happening in that owner user category, it sounds like.
Yeah. Now, if an owner user wanting an office building, that's different. I unfortunately don't have any of those. I've got guys needing industrial space, commissary space, in some cases, restaurant spaces with residential above, mixed use buildings. And those are a little harder to come by at prices that make sense.
Are you seeing the crazy ghost restaurant trend working forward where people go into a common area and kind of use that for whatever, a week or two or a month kind of situation?
I remember hearing a lot about that before. I don't hear much about that in San Francisco. I know there are those places and there are concepts that don't exist in brick and mortar stores. They just exist online and in a ghost kitchen. But I would say that maybe those places have been kind of kept from really exploding just because there's so many restaurants that are also competing in that same area.
Right.
I mean, most restaurants have a pretty strong presence online and are doing all the apps and doing a lot of deliveries as well. And I would say that the places that have the presence, brick and mortar presence, are at an advantage because people see the place and they may stop in sometimes, and it's more on the radar for for folks wanting to order online.
Yeah.
So I just haven't seen like a massive explosion of those places.
Yeah. You know Ricky Tang down here in the peninsula?
The name's familiar. Yeah.
He's a restaurant guy. Anyway, you should
What's
connect
his restaurant?
Well, he's a commercial broker, but he specializes in restaurants. So, if you happen to
Okay.
somebody looking down in the peninsula, you should talk to Ricky. So,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I've corresponded in the past.
yeah, I suspect you have. Anyway, well, so where would people get a hold of you if they want to come up to San Francisco?
Well, I would say, let's see. I can give a phone number. You can link to it in the podcast. My last name is very tough to it's tough to spell. But the email address is mike@vandermadesf.com. And you can call the office at 415-592-5999, 415-592-5999. And yeah, I'm happy to be a resource for folks interested in retail, food and beverage, or anything else. If I can't do it, I'll find the right person who can.
Okay. Well, you're the man then. We'll definitely have people call. So we'll be in touch, I'm sure, because I may have people coming to the city and you may have people coming down here. I think we can trade some deals.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Bruce. And I'd love to work together and refer some business your way as well.
That'd be great. Well, just hold on a second here and I'll hit the stop recording part. Oh, that's the wrong button. All right, here we go.
That's a wrap on today's journey through the SF commercial real estate scene. Ready to share your story? Visit sfcommercialconversations.com/guest. Your insights could lead the next conversation.